A team of scientists led by Dr. Helen Fisher determined that romantic love can be broken down into three categories: lust, attraction, and attachment. Each category is categorized by its own hormones stemming from the brain. Lust equals testosterone and estrogen. Attraction equals dopamine, norepinephrine, and serotonin. Attachment equals oxytocin and vasopressin. That is the basic roadmap to falling in love. So I'm here to tell you that when your ex says, "I love you, but I'm not in love with you," it's likely bullshit, because what that really means is the dopamine high isn't as good as it used to be with you. I want my dopamine high back, and I don't understand the other categories of this attachment that I have with you. I only understand dopamine, that chemical, that neurotransmitter that makes me feel good. And because I can't get it with you anymore, I'm gonna go and get it with someone else. So to put simply, when your ex first got with you, that first dopamine high was as high as they was ever gonna get. Just like when a drug user takes any kind of recreational drug for the first time, the high is the best it's ever going to be the first time they take it. They then spend the rest of their time trying to chase the magic of that first high. And that's pretty much what "I love you, but I'm not in love with you" means. And therefore, actions never lie and words don't mean shit, to quote Mark Manson. So stick around and I'm gonna break this down, get into it, and hopefully get you feeling a little bit better. So welcome back to The Love Fix. It's Nick, doing my best to get you through your breakups as easily and as healthily as I can. If today's video is not enough for you, take a look in the description below. My link to my one-to-one coaching sessions are there. So if you need a breakup coaching recovery session with me, go and book yourself in. My Facebook group is there. Come and join us. And my new podcast show is there, where I really get deep into these kind of subjects. So go and check them out, guys. Okay, let's get into it. To really understand where your ex is at in their head, and to understand "I love you, but I'm not in love with you," what that really means, we need to dig a little bit deeper into those neurotransmitters that makes us feel the way we feel. For example, oxytocin is commonly known as the cuddle or bonding hormone. It feels great, but it's not quite as exciting as dopamine. Dopamine is a roller coaster jam-packed with highs, lows, and loopy loops. It's exciting, dangerous, intoxicating, and addictive. Oxytocin is the affection for your grandparents or someone you've been friends with for 20 years. The novelty of that person has long worn off. It's safe, it's predictable. So why settle for safety and predictability when novelty and excitement are renewed by dopamine? And the easiest way to get a new shot of dopamine is with a new person. So when your ex is saying "I love you, but I'm not in love with you," that's what it's about. They're looking for the next dopamine high. Because, my friends, after time, after let's say 1 to 5 years, love stops being a feeling. It becomes a choice. In fact, it should be a choice from day one. We shouldn't be basing love on chemical reactions in our brain, because that won't last. Those chemical reactions will normalize. However, I will caveat that with your ex may have emotionally checked out if you were doing shit wrong, if you were being abusive, if you wasn't turning up, if you wasn't taking care of yourself, and you wasn't listening, and you wasn't doing maintenance on the relationship. So they may have just checked out. And if that's the case, then there's not too much you can do about that apart from go away, heal, and work on yourself. But if your ex is someone that needs that constant eye, that can't be by themselves for a moment, then it's quite possible that they are addicted to the dopamine high, the idea of love, rather than what love is. And to quote Logan Ury from her book, How to Not Die Alone, we have to change our idea of love. Relationships are not discovered, they are built. So it's changing the idea of what we believe love to be. And if we are basing love on these chemical reactions, then every relationship's going to fail. When that chemical reaction normalizes, or that neurotransmitter normalizes and we become used to it, we become adapted to it, then we have to make a choice. We have to choose our partner every day. And it's been my experience that most people do not do this. Once that feeling has worn off, once the dopamine high has gone away, they want that initial high, and because they can't get it with you, and because it's impossible to get it with you anymore, it's impossible. That initial high when they first met you, when they first fell in love with you, will only happen that one time with you. It can't happen again with you, so they're looking for it with another person, which says more about them than it does you. It says everything about them. It's a reflection of them. They've got some work to do. They've got to work on their traumas, and they need to realign what love is to them. Otherwise, they're going to keep repeating the same mistakes over and over and over again. So, I love you, but I'm not in love with you. Guys, trust me when I say, after a certain amount of time, we're not in love with people anymore. And going back to the start of this conversation that I'm having with you now, going back to the start where I said oxytocin, the cuddle, the bonding hormone, that's the affection you have for someone in your family, a friend that you've been with for 20 years. Now, I've got friends that I've been friends with for over 20 years, and I don't feel like crazy about them. They're my friends. I care about them, and I would do anything for them, but I'm not like, should we say, quote unquote, in love with them anymore, as in that first excitement when you meet a friend, they're really cool, and, you know, they bring a lot to the table. No, that normalizes over time. So it's now a choice for me to remain friends with them, to continue to invest in that. And that's the same with romantic relationships. So my friends, you have to really analyze what these words mean when your ex says those words. So, did you generally fuck up the relationship? What did you contribute to that breakup? Or is your ex a dopamine junkie? Now, I don't just want you to say, oh yeah, my ex is a dopamine junkie. No, really sit down and analyze it. Either way, I'm hoping that this information is going to give you the tools that you need to reconsider, reanalyze, realign your mindset to say they are who they are, and there is not much you can do about that. The beast is the beast, and I've said before in previous videos, don't get mad at a lion for being a lion. We don't get mad at lions for hunting down their prey and eating it. That's what lions do. And your ex will do what they want to do. So if they want to say shit like, I love you, but I'm not in love with you, then let them fucking think happy thoughts forever, and let them move on to the next person and let them fuck that up, because that's exactly what will happen. If they don't realign what love is in their head, if they constantly base a relationship on a dopamine high and that Disney butterfly feeling, then they are going to end up very lonely, because it will always normalize. It will always level out. We can't be in a forever state of a dopamine high. The bigger the high, the bigger the crash, it's going to come crashing down. So wish them well, my friends, and use this time to realign how love should work. Because my friends, if you base it on the chemical reaction, if you base it on the neurotransmitters that you feel when you first meet someone, you are on very shaky ground, and it will end up the same way. So establish compatibility first, and let the chemistry build from the compatibility. We need both. I'm not saying that we don't, but most people are getting this wrong. They're starting off with chemistry, and then they're trying to build compatibility. But here's the thing with chemistry: it cloaks everything. It cloaks all the red flags, and we ignore the lack of compatibility. And if you knew how many people that I talk to on a one-to-one basis that go through this, that start off their relationships with chemistry rather than establishing compatibility of emotional maturity, values, what does life look like, what does a relationship look like, how many kids do we want, are we politically aligned, are we religiously aligned, and all those things. You must establish that early on, and not base any relationship on a chemical imbalance in your brain. That's all I've got for today. I hope you've enjoyed this, and as always, you are going to be okay, you are enough, and I will see you on the other side.